music with my bro. Will it dig it? Yes or no? Here we go on with the show, the Hear Me Out Bro Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome back to episode 31 of the Hear Me Out Bro Podcast. My name is Clark, and I'd like to introduce my brother Eric.
Greetings, listeners.
Nice. As always, you can find our playlist by searching for HMOBP on YouTube. You can find our playlists and our podcasts posted there. If you listen along, we'd appreciate you leaving a comment on the individual videos saying that the Hear Me Out Bro podcast brought you there. If you have any questions or comments, we have an email address. That's hearmeoutbropodcast@gmail.com. If you have any questions, comments, or show ideas or feedback. We also have a Facebook account you can follow us at, the HMOB, H-MOB, Facebook.
Do you know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's time for the mail truck.
The mail truck?
Mail truck!
You've got mail.
Our first email this week is from Hawkman69420 at hotmail.com. Hawkman writes, in Season 2, Episode 30, Lemon Twigs, in quotes, you said you had already mentioned an Ethan Hawke film on the podcast, then proceeded to talk about Apt Pupil, a movie co-starring Brad Renfro. How can you possibly get them confused? Brad acted in over 30 movies. Nothing like the almost 100 films starring Ethan Hawke. If you're going to consistently get things so wrong, please consider adding a corrections corner segment to your podcast.
Consistently? What else have we gotten wrong?
I don't know. And we say that, we're not a history podcast or,
Yeah.
We get things wrong.
We are a music podcast, not a movie podcast.
Right. Well, and I looked into it, and it's like, 30 to like 100. That's quite a gap.
Quite a range.
Range. But Ethan Hawke started his career with, a movie that I absolutely loved called Voyagers? Explorers, not Voyagers.
Okay.
And in 1985, had like River Phoenix in it and like a couple other kids that age. They like built a spaceship and went to outer space, met some aliens. And yeah, oh man, I loved that movie when I was a kid. So from 1985 to 2005, so like a 40-year career, he made 100 movies, whereas Brad Renfro's career started in 1994, and he died in 2008. Like, he was only active for like, what is that, like 14 years? So
what's he saying, that you confused Ethan Hawke for Brad Renfro?
Confused Brad Renfro for Ethan Hawke. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Hawkman 69420, we're big enough men to admit when we're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So we apologize and consider this what did he want us to have?
Corrections corner.
Okay. So we'll correct our mistake and you go sit in the corner.
Have a timeout, Hawkman.
Yeah, a 420 timeout.
That actually sounds kind of nice. Is that a punishment?
I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
Okay, we received a letter from Tina from Ontario.
Oh, international.
Yeah, Tina from Ontario writes, I married a Rush fan. Hi, bros. Hoping you can clear up a few things for me to help save my marriage. Ooh.
Uh-oh.
I feel my husband, Anthony, has been keeping secrets from me. The other day, an Amazon package arrived at our home containing a set of Alex, Getty, and Neil bobbleheads. When I asked my husband about this, he claimed it must have been a case of identity theft and pointed to a recent episode where he claims you revealed every Rush fan's pin code on air. I told him to take it up with Amazon and see if they could be returned since neither of us ordered the items. When he was at work the other day, I was looking high and low for the box to see if I could take care of it at our local Amazon return center. I finally found the bobbleheads down in his man cave where he plays his drums, but the box they came in was nowhere to be found. But then I stumbled onto something far more concerning. He had multiple posters featuring a naked man's backside. Now I fear my Anthony may be a closet homosexual. When I confronted him about all of this, he said the Amazon review was an open case and he put them there for safekeeping until they cleared things up. And it was such a pain to return them, he may as well just keep the bobbleheads. He also assured me that the Naked Man posters were covers from some Rush albums and that I was overreacting about all this. Since your podcast is responsible for my husband's identity theft leading to this mistaken Amazon order, can you please send us $49 Canadian to make this right? Also, since you are always talking about Rush on your podcast, can you confirm that Rush uses a naked man posing for many of their album covers? I feel it's the least you can do for the stress you have put on my husband and I's relationship. Thanks, Tina.
Wow.
That's kind of heavy.
I mean,
to put all that on us.
Totally. I have two questions. Were they bobbleheads or pop vinyls?
They were bobbleheads.
Okay.
Well, according to the letter, they were bobbleheads. So, and it sounds like Anthony's just decided to keep them.
Yeah.
So and like, you know, we apologize profusely, and we don't want to set a precedent, but just to help you and Anthony, we'll send you the $49 Canadian.
Right.
And hopefully that'll square things, and you don't have to deal with Amazon, because we know what a pain it can be to deal with Amazon.
Oh, totally.
To the second part of her question.
Well, hang on, because I know.
Okay, yeah.
Permanent Waves has like the
upskirt thing.
Yeah, the like teeny bopper lady with like, or like the tennis skirt girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know there's that, and that was kind of a controversy. I don't really recall.
Yeah, I don't recall any naked man.
There's like the kid
pictures.
Kid kicking the skull or whatever on Roll the Bones.
There's the dog peeing on the fire hydrant.
True, that's
the Dalmatian.
Yeah, there's like
there's the owl that we've spoken about.
Oh yeah, there's like the Induk Shook on the cover of one of their albums. The Inuit like stone sculpture thing, like stacked stone sculpture. That's kind of like in the shape of a person. You know,
yeah, I don't recall any with especially a naked man's backside.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I can't confirm that there's any pornographic, like homosexually pornographic album covers.
Yeah,
I mean, just seems like you guys have some stuff to work out. You know, I would recommend take that $49 and maybe like book a counseling session so you can like talk these things out.
Right.
And I mean, even if Anthony is gay, like, I mean, it's not like he's a Satanist or anything, you know, it's like, luckily he doesn't have a bunch of pentagrams like hanging around in his, in the studio as well. So
yeah, that would be more concerning.
Well, especially if it was like satanic homosexual stuff.
Yeah. Like, man, that would really make me recoil. You know, I'd put my hands up and kind of like,
yeah, like you're like,
yeah.
So, yeah, well, hopefully we helped your marriage, and good luck.
Yeah. And you know, the human body is a thing of beauty, you know? Beauty isn't, you know, necessarily sexual.
True. Yeah. Yeah, we have no idea what kind of posters he's got down in his man cave there, but sounds pretty man cavey.
Right. This week's episode is dedicated to these albums, like 2 CD sets, 2 sets of 2 CDs that came out, I think, in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I think the first one was 2002 and the second was 2006, I believe.
Okay. And so they're called Sucking the 70s and Sucking the 70s 2, Back in the Saddle. And they're modern bands doing 70s cover songs. And so they're like modern, kind of like sludgy, doomy rock, like heavy rock bands. So if you like that kind of music, you're going to recognize a lot of these names. And they're doing covers of like a bunch of really cool 70s songs. So it's like I bought the first one when it came out, and then when the second one came out, it was like, oh man, another slice of cake? Yes, please. And so I've listened to them hundreds of times. And so we're both fans. So
yeah, they're pretty good. And
we thought
there's some cool bands on here. And we've talked about some of them already, but yeah, it'll be fun to run through this list.
Yeah, so I interspersed them, like alternated. I think you had 10 and I had 8. Okay, yeah, so there's only a couple where any of the ones where it was like the same band or similar bands doing 2 songs. I paired those up.
You lumped them?
I lumped them.
Okay, nice. Okay. So my first pick is Fireball Ministry playing Joe Walsh's Turn to Stone. Yeah, it's a good jam.
Totally.
I had that on our movie themes and soundtracks from the Lords of Dogtown.
Right.
Yeah, Joe Walsh is cool.
He is pretty cool. Like, sometimes he's pretty lame, but he was definitely my favorite songwriter from the Eagles. So
yeah, Fireball Ministry's a Los Angeles band. They're like 2000s era. And you have a Fireball Ministry pick as well.
I do. A lot of these bands, like, I don't really listen to them outside of these 2 albums. But it's like,
I listened to a few of these bands outside of the album.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there are a few that are famous in their own right, or like more famous. Yeah. But yeah, it's like a couple of these. It's like I never would have heard of them if it wasn't for this album.
Well, we won't give any spoilers, but when you hit on ones that you listen to outside of this compilation, then drop a mention.
Okay. So next up, I've got Fireball Ministry doing a cover of UFO's Doctor Doctor.
Man, UFO was awesome.
Right? Yeah, it's like that song is like, it's not the most overt, like, Guitar Hero-y song, but it's like some of those riffs are just like, they're so awesome. Like they just sound so cool. And
Phenomenon. And Michael Schenker wrote that song when he was like 18 or something.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole album's great. I like the early UFO stuff too. Like the Prince Kajuku stuff and like the weird UFO 1 and UFO 2 or whatever those albums are. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, once they came out with Phenomenon, it was like, a totally different thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Rock Bottom and oh man, that song's amazing.
Totally. I forget what episode we were talking about like finding vinyl at garage sales or like having somebody like, culling stuff out of their record collection or like, oh, I got to move. Like, do you want all these records? Like, I think I mentioned Greg LeChaminade on one of the...
Gave you a box of records.
Gave me a box of records. And like there were...
Teenager.
Yeah, like Montrose and a bunch of other bands. But there were a bunch of UFO albums in there too. It's like,
yeah,
whoa. These guys rule.
Yeah, great band.
Totally.
Yeah, I wonder if the bands picked what songs they were going to cover. It seems like they probably did go that way.
I think they did. And it was just like, it's a bunch of like B-sides or like, oh yeah, you know, I know this guy from this band and they do a cover of that. Like, you know, they were probably all these bands were touring at around the same time, and they probably all kind of knew each other, or just, I don't really know how these albums came together, but like, I know a few of these songs are featured in other places too. So,
yeah. So it could just be a compilation. Some of them could have been curated just for the collection, but yeah, nice.
Yeah, either way, it's just like, man, these 4 CDs are just, they're gold. Like, yeah, there's only a couple songs that like aren't as awesome as the others, but they're still listenable. And it's just like,
yeah, there was one really trippy song I wanted to put on the list, and it was Valis's cover of Dreamweaver.
Yep.
But it's nowhere to be found. It's on Bandcamp.
Right.
So go over to Bandcamp and listen to Valis's Dreamweaver.
Yeah. And it's totally
nuts.
It's totally, yeah, like you said, super trippy.
Yeah. But it's not on YouTube anywhere.
It's still good. Well, I mean, it is. You can find, maybe we'll add those to the end of the playlist. There are a couple YouTube channels that have added like chaptered, like entire
of the full
album. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
That was probably the only one the only cover that I was disappointed by, because like that song is super cool.
Oh, I love Gary Wright's version.
Yeah. And it's like, man, like if you had like a total like stoner doom version of it, or like a riffy, sludgy.
Yeah, where you were actually like singing it.
Yeah.
And like,
it'd be so awesome. Yeah. Like it could be super heavy. Like, you know, if like Zakk Wylde did it or something, or one of the bands coming up, or Fireball Ministry did it. Like, man, it could be totally dope.
Okay, this next one is a totally kick butt band playing a totally kick butt song. Like I loved this song when I was younger, and
oh yeah,
me and my friend David, we used to just, if we were like up too late and trying to fall asleep and maybe slightly altered, we would always put on Aqualung.
Yep.
That whole album's just killer.
Yeah, I love that it's like kind of a concept album, kind of not a concept album.
Yeah.
Like,
but it just all meshes.
Yeah.
So this is Clutch playing Jethro Tull's Cross-Eyed Mary. Clutch rips, man.
Oh, totally.
Those guitar tones on that song are just, they're so huge.
Totally. Yeah. And like it's the one song I've ever heard where Neil Fallon like kind of tries to sound like somebody else. Like he tries to sound like the singer from Jethro Tull. Like,
yeah, he's like leaning in that direction.
Yeah. But it's like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, it is Neil Fallon. Like he's got such a voice of his own that it's like you really have to get that like weird warbly, I don't know. I don't even know what singing technique that is.
Yeah.
It's that weird Aqualung sound. This friend of mine was dating this girl who had a lazy eye. She was super pretty, but had a lazy eye, and we'd like give him crap about it all the time. But
oh man,
her name was Mary, and like every time she came up, it was like she dined on expense accounted gruel.
Oh man, okay,
yeah.
Well, it's not bad. I mean, you couldn't help but make the connection. But I don't know about giving your friend a hard time about it.
No, it was pretty lame.
That's what guys do.
It's what guys do, and it's like, yeah, we never made fun of her to her face, which it's lame no matter what. Like, she can't help it.
Yeah.
And she was super cool, so It's like
a few years back, I think maybe pre-COVID or right before COVID, Steven Wilson remixed all of the Jethro Tull albums. Steven Wilson from Porcupine Tree. I love his solo stuff. I like a lot of Porcupine Tree stuff. For some reason, all these like classic prog bands just handed over their master tapes to Steven Wilson to have him remix all this classic prog stuff. And he redid all the Jethro Tull albums. Yeah, it's interesting to listen to if you're, I've listened to Jethro Tull like my whole life. I like know those songs inside and out. It's interesting to hear kind of his take on remixing those albums. So
right. Yeah. And it's like
we're checking out.
I have such a love-hate relationship with Jethro Tull. And it's like it's no fault of theirs. Because it's like Aqualung is like one of the greatest albums of all time. Like,
they have a bunch of great albums.
It's so heavy and it's so awesome. They have a bunch of great albums. It's like it's not their fault that Crest of a Knave beat And Justice for All at the Grammys for best heavy metal performance.
And they're not even heavy metal.
Yeah, it's just
it just goes to show.
It goes to show. And
the music critics.
But like speaking of Jethro Tull covers, I don't remember what the album might be called. Broadsword. That band Turasauce does a cover of Broadsword, Jethro Tull song. That's super cool. But it's like it's not available in North America for copyright reasons. It's like that made me very, very mad when that got taken out of my library for copyright issues, and was part of the reason I signed up for a VPN. So I was like, I'm going to listen to that song. Like, that song's cool. Like, Turasauce's version of it is so awesome. Alrighty. So,
speaking of awesome covers.
Yeah. So, my next pick is Clutch and Five Horse Johnson doing Red Hot Mama, a Funkadelic cover. Yeah, it's like that might be the one song on both of those albums where it's not that much heavier than the original.
Right.
Like the Funkadelic version.
It's not amped up like too much further.
Yeah. Yeah, like the Funkadelic version is just so beefy to begin with that it's like it could fit on here.
Yeah, these albums are like good music to put on if you're doing something like kind of menial that's semi-strenuous, like if you're like tree trimming or like I don't know, moving gravel or digging holes or something.
Yeah, like doing yard work that's not just like pulling weeds or like planting starts.
Yeah.
If you're not anywhere near the raised beds, like put these albums on. Or if you're driving, they're totally awesome for like perfect driving music.
If you're doing some light masonry.
Yes. Although we are not responsible for your speeding tickets if you listen to these albums while driving.
Right. Yeah, we don't want to set a precedent by sending $49 to Tina and Anthony, but
yeah, we will not pay your moving violations.
Yeah,
man, the Funkadelic version of that song, like even with the intro, is totally cool.
Oh man,
that weird little spoken word poem. It's not nice to fool Mother Nature.
Oh man,
the proud mother of God, like all hoes, is jealous of her own.
I don't think we have Funkadelic as a on the list.
We should, because Standing on the Verge of Getting It On is like peak.
Oh man, they have so much stuff that's just
like
amazing.
I think it's like David Bowie, Young Americans is like my absolute number one favorite song. And number two might be Standing on the Verge of Getting It On. Like that song is just so perfect.
Okay, my next pick is a band I almost put on your birthday episode because they were doing stuff in the early 90s.
Right.
This is Raging Slab with their version of We're an American Band.
Yeah, so Tina, if your husband gets into Raging Slab, we are not responsible
for this album cover. It's such a weird album cover.
It's a take on Molly Hatchet, like the Frazetta painting from behind.
Yeah, I love how he has.
It's pretty good.
I love how he has toilet paper stuck to his heel, and that's where the band logo is. Oh man,
it's pretty classic.
Yeah, classy too.
Yeah,
classic and classy.
Yeah, a touch of class.
Raging Slab was interesting. Like they were one of the ones that I found them in like the dollar record bin. It's like, what the heck is this? They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty heavy for their time.
Totally.
Kind of Southern rock-ish. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like that song is super cool too. Like it's got such cool drum work in it.
Yeah, Grand Funk Railroad is, and they were huge in their time.
Right.
But they're one of those bands that like, yeah, you gotta re-listen to them. Yeah. Because all the songs you hear on the radio are like pretty good, but
they're good. Like
they're a good band.
Yeah,
they're solid.
It's just
rocking band.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of Rush and like the Tom Sawyer thing. That it's like
yeah.
I mean, you can't not like American Band just because it's popular. It's like that song rules, dude. Like get over it.
Yeah, what's that other song though? Like the I'm getting closer to my home, and it just like keeps repeating and repeating.
I don't remember. I know what song you're talking about though.
Yeah. That one gets a little wearing.
Yeah, true.
And that's the one they always play on the radio besides American Band. Anyways.
Well, speaking of bands, you don't really hear that much about anymore. So I'm going to play the song and then I've got a few things to talk about. One, like directly on topic. One, kind of a tangent.
Okay.
My next pick is Puny Human doing a cover of Crazy Horses by the Osmonds. Yeah, so I never really like checked the track listing on those albums. Like I did, but I also kind of like missed a bunch of stuff. So like I never realized that song was by the Osmonds originally.
Oh, really?
Like that's who wrote it? Because I'd never heard like the Crazy Horses album. And it
was so like out of the blue for them.
Yeah. And so just like 2 months ago, I was like surfing the pipeline at YouTube, and this like review from this dude of that album, and he was like, I'm gonna play this album for you, or like I'm gonna play a couple songs or like parts of songs, and I'm gonna tell you who this is. And like a friend of mine did the same thing for me, and it blew my mind when he told me who it was. And it was like played a little bit of it and then was like, and it's by the Osmonds, and it like blew me away. And I was like, whoa, okay, they have a whole album of songs like that. Like, all right. And so I kind of, yeah, there's like the guy said there's a couple ballads on there, but like they're still pretty good for ballads and blah blah blah. And so like I checked out the album and it was like, okay. I mean,
yeah, you can cherry pick it
good.
And go, wow, that's heavy, but it's like, nah.
Yeah.
It's like, it's bits.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, yeah, I'll listen to people do covers of it. Sure. But like, I don't have time to listen to the actual source material.
Yeah.
it was like, oh man, Puny Human's cover of it is so awesome.
Well, the Osmonds version is awesome too, but
it's good. Yeah.
Like, that's like their one good, like rockin' upbeat song where they put a little oomph into it.
Yeah.
A little chutzpah.
Yeah. But, you know, I was just like, oh man, like I got all like super excited thinking it was just like this uncut, you know, mother load.
Lost chestnut.
Yeah. And I was like, oh man.
Nah.
And it was like, yeah.
Nah. Yeah.
I won't be sharing this with my friends.
Yeah. Like if you think you're going to find some, like, you're going to unearth some like proto metal treasure by going back and listening to the Osmonds, like you'd be doing yourself a favor to just like go on to YouTube and watch the Donnie and Marie show.
Their Star Wars episode.
Any of them, it'd be much more worth your time.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the Osmonds. But I also just love the band name Puny Human.
Oh man, yeah.
Like, I don't know if they're still around, but like if like they could play with Shark in the Water and Puny Human together at last, be pretty awesome.
Oh man.
And this is like a total aside, but when I lived out in Sebastopol, like our neighbor out there was like this totally cool dude who did he did all kinds of cool stuff, and still friends with him. But like our front door was kind of like in this back alley. So every once in a while I'd be coming out the front door and he'd be out like doing something, like with his, like have his garage door open and be working on something. And and it was like, dude, what are you working on? He was like, I'm making a robot costume for the what is it, the Apple Blossom Parade. And and it was like, what? And he's like, do you guys want to make robot costumes? It was like, yes. And I'm like, let me ask Erica, but it's guaranteed a yes. And so it was like, I had to wait till she got home. I was like, I talked to the neighbor. Like, he's making robot costumes. He invited us to make robot costumes. I was like, oh, dude, hell yeah. And so we entered the
Apple Blossom Festival parade.
There's the Apple Blossom Festival, but is it the Gravenstein Parade? I can't remember which one has the parade. There's one at the beginning of summer and one at the end of summer. And I can't remember which is which. But so we were an entry in the parade. This group of people who had made like out of cardboard and spray paint and duct tape and dryer vents and found plastic objects and stuff, had made robot costumes. And like neighbor's costume was like totally Daft Punk. Like it was so cool. And and then like somebody else had like a dead on Rosie the Rosie the
from the Jetsons.
And so like, because it's I can't remember how many we had, it probably 10 people dressed up as robots, and there was like somebody had like made a like this like robot costume thing for a cargo bike. And so he was dressed as a robot like riding on the back of this other robot. And so like the kid was like in the cargo bike like seat thing in the front, and had like this robot head and arms that he could like operate from the inside. And like all these totally creative costumes. But so like we had like a whole bunch of people dressed up as robots in these like cardboard, sweaty, low visibility costumes. And so we had to have like minders basically. And so we had like a minivan with like a bunch of people that were like throwing candy out and stuff. And they were most of them were dressed as the Jetsons, like the rest of the Jetsons family. And so it was like what we were calling everybody's roles were like, oh, are you a robot? You should be like at the starting point by such and such a time and have your costume ready to go and everything. And if you're a puny human, like be here by this time and you can ride in the minivan, blah blah blah.
Nice.
Oh, like the minivan had like a jet engine and little wings and stuff on it.
Nice.
It's pretty cool. But yeah, the puny humans.
Oh man. Do you have any pictures of your robot costumes?
I have like a couple. I have some pictures and a video of Erica's costume, Ollie, because she was like a Jeep head, and so like the headlights and the grill kind of look like Ollie, or so.
I mean, we can put them on our Facebook page.
Yeah,
if you have any pictures.
And then somebody else took the picture, and then I've got copies of it somewhere I can add of like we were on like the cover of the local paper.
Oh, nice.
And it was like Erica and I were like right there on the cup, like right there, dead center in the photo,
front and center.
Yeah,
nice. Yeah. Send me a picture.
My costume was like
I'll put it on the Facebook.
The dumbest. Like, I was like, oh, I'm gonna make like a Viking robot, and like the podcast, like so many other things. It's like I don't really get excited about something until there's a title for it. Like the dumber / cleverer, the better. And I was like, well, he's got to have a name. Like, maybe I haven't even finished building it. Maybe I just had the idea. I don't know. I was like out on the mail route and was like, what's the dumbest name I could come up with? And I was like, oh, his name is Ronan the Botbarian.
Oh man, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's like his helmet was like a colander that put a big dent in it. Stuck these big horns on it. Pretty funny.
Oh man,
total cheese ball. And then I was like, I don't want to just like. I had just gotten a hot wire foam cutter. I made these really cool claws for Erica's costume, and I was like, I'm not gonna have time to do anything like that for me. So I'm just going to wear like this like pair of work gloves with like the reinforced knuckles and stuff. They'll look robot-y enough. And I was like, I don't want to just have hands. I want to have like some sort of, I grew up with action figures. Like I have to have an accessory. And so I made this big club. And I had a bunch of like hazard tape, like the red and yellow and black stripe hazard tape. And so I had that as like details on part of the robot costume. And so I stuck that around like the head of this big club.
Oh man.
So it's like this robot barbarian with a big like Captain Caveman club. I was like, oh man. This is like the dumbest thing I could think of.
Oh man.
He's a robot, but he's like a barbarian robot. Yeah. I am my biggest fan.
In a way, a parade is kind of like a caravan.
That's true. Unless you use the British version, which is just like it's a camper trailer.
Like an RV or camper. Yeah. A trailer.
But yeah.
So
I'm not going to step on your segue.
And unlike puny humans and otherwise, or no, sorry. Unlike robots, the difference between puny humans and robots is that humans have a spirit.
That's true.
So
allegedly,
this next band is like one of my favorite bands of all time. I didn't even know they were on this album until we revisited it for the show. But yeah, these are one of my favorite bands. And they're also covering one of my favorite bands.
True.
So this is Spirit Caravan covering Black Sabbath's Wicked World.
Nice.
I think that's the only live song on the album.
Possibly. Yeah.
Yeah. Spirit Caravan's great.
Totally.
We'll cover them. I want to do a whole episode on Wino. I had him on our folk episode, I believe.
Yeah.
Song by him. But yeah, Spirit Caravan formed after the Obsessed broke up. And then after Spirit Caravan broke up, well, they're still together, but they had a temporary split up. Then Wino sang for St. Vitus, and he also formed Place of Skulls and The Hidden Hand. He's been part of so many awesome projects.
Totally.
But they always kind of center around him and what he brings to the party. But yeah, their album Jug Full of Sun is like highly recommended listening. Spirit Caravan's Jug Full of Sun.
Nice.
Great album. So
yeah, and it's like even in a cover version, like the Bill Ward, Geezer Butler swing thing comes through. Like
yeah.
It's just like, man, those guys were doing such cool stuff.
Yeah, they would get jazzy, psychedelic and stuff.
Yep.
Now that we've switched, I think most of our songs before this were on the second album.
I've got
we have
few more from the second album. I have way more of my picks were from the second album.
I'm just saying, like, now that we're seeing the first album cover, like it's got that rad CUDA on it. That's my car of choice for all the Forza Horizon games.
Nice. Very cool.
It appeals to me. We even had a Los Gordos logo with like a black Hemi CUDA, like lifting the front wheels coming off the line.
I remember that.
Yeah. Have a history with the CUDA love.
Nice. So you were never a Chevy Nova fan?
Nah.
So you were never
No, those are econo cars.
Yeah, but still. They're still pretty cool.
Yeah, but they're not like a premium Mopar pony car.
True. So you were never a Nova driver?
No.
Okay. Because
I've driven a Nova before, but
I
don't know, they're pretty cool. The Nova 2s, like the earlier like mid-size ones are pretty cool. But like even like the Nova kind of thing, I would take like a Plymouth Duster over a Nova.
Okay.
Because
fair.
kind of not so much a Chevy guy as I am a Moper guy, and to a lesser extent, certain Fords.
Right.
Certain Fords are pretty epic, but not all of them.
Yeah, I remember. Do you remember that car from Journey's End?
Mm-mm.
There was like a little old lady who had like the fastback Ford Mustang in British racing green.
Yeah, the fastbacks are beautiful cars.
Yeah, it was the car from Bullitt, and it was like little old lady only drove it on Sundays. When I was working with Uncle Richard, like doing like painting people's fences and doing yard work and stuff for old people at the trailer park. And it was like, I didn't have my driver's license at the time, but it was like, that old lady kicks the bucket. I got dibs.
Oh, man.
That car's so rad.
Yeah. Grandpa's car at the time was kind of the Ford equivalent of a Nova. It was a Ford Fairmont, which is like a total old man car. But I would love to have that car now because they're like an early, what's called a Fox body, like that whole series of Fox body Fords. So this is and Fox body Mustangs are pretty renowned for being really light and crazy fast.
Nice.
But he had the Fox body version of a Fairmont, and it was a 2-door, and it had this cool plaid interior, and it was a 4-speed, and it had the 302, like the same motor as the Mustangs had. So it was like this old man car with the plaid interior, just total sleeper.
Okay, so you said that you've driven a Chevy Nova before.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have been at one time a Nova driver.
In one instance.
Hey, it counts.
Yeah.
Well, my next pick is a cover of AC/DC or Akadakas, if you're nasty. AC/DC's Sin City by Nova Driver.
Pretty rocked up version.
Yep. Yeah, the original's pretty rocked up too, but
yeah, AC/DC is one of my top 5 bands. Love those guys.
Yeah, they're so good. Yeah, especially the Bon Scott era, like Sin City. Like, yeah, I thought the singer for Nova Driver's voice worked pretty well.
It's got a good register for it.
It's got kind of that spit to his voice.
Yeah, you can hear the sneer.
Yeah, like when these albums came out, I was like super into AC/DC. Like I remember you had a copy of If You Want Blood, and so I remember listening to that as a kid, and it was like, I forget what made me get back into them. Oh,
you just remember that one because he's got the guitar sticking out of him and all the fake blood.
Yeah. And but yeah, it's like all the songs on that are so good. And,
I could see how that one would make an impression on a kid.
So I got super into, like, because like when I was a teenager, like like Thunderstruck and like some of their later hits, like the Brian Johnson era hits, were like still happening. And and so it was only like about 10 or 15 years later where it was like, oh, right. Yeah, like they had the old singer, and yeah, he's somehow even cooler. And so I got super into the like Bon Scott era AC/DC. And so when this compilation came out, it was like name that tune. Like the song started and it was like, it's Sin City. Like, oh man. I love the way it starts out too. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, with the Echoplex, the runaway tape delay or whatever.
And then like that
Tommy Bolin thing.
Yeah, the opening lyrics are cool too. Like,
yeah, talking about like the old AC/DC records, like when I was a teenager, totally brings back some memories. Because when I was in 8th grade, they had a county-wide teachers strike, so they had substitute teachers going in to teach, and
Scabs.
I just wasn't into it. And because Mike Lynch next door, his dad was a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So like he was like, you guys don't have to go to school. So I would just like stopped going to school too after a while because I just kept getting in trouble.
Yeah,
for stuff.
You're doing the right thing by not going to school. Like what?
Right. Well, mom and dad are gone now. So I got a detention for like, I don't know. I was just freaking out and like having adolescent hormones or something.
Mm-hmm.
I was kicking this fence and I got in trouble for like trying to break this fence. Had to go to opportunity for that. And I got out of opportunity. And then since it was a teacher strike and it was all substitutes, this is going to be a bit of a tangent. So since it was a teacher strike and it was all substitutes, I just decided, well, I'm just going to go hang out with my friends and like whatever class they're in, and like whatever kid isn't there, I'll just say I'm that person when they call roll.
Right. Nice.
And so, yeah, I was with my friend Brian Zank, and he used to go to church dances with me, even though he wasn't a member, because he thought all the Mormon girls were cute. But so we're hanging out in his math class, and the teacher realizes something's up because like I don't have a textbook or like any binders or anything with me. And he's like, you don't belong in this class or whatever, I think you're lying or whatever. So I said something and jumped out the window.
Nice.
Yeah, jumped out the window and started running off. And like they had like these campus guards or whatever during the strike.
Right.
To like maintain a semblance of order. And one of them caught me and brought me back to the classroom. And the teacher was just like livid. And he's like, okay, I'm writing you a referral and I'm sending you to the vice principal's office. Because everybody knew the vice principal was way worse than the actual principal.
Mm-hmm.
They were like the principal was the carrot and the vice principal was the stick.
Right.
So he wrote me up a referral, and I was like, okay, give me that referral and I'm gone. So he hands me the referral and I start walking out the door and he's all, hold on a minute, and tells the TA to go with me to make sure I get to the vice principal's office. So, and I can't remember his name. I wish I could remember his name. I thanked him years ago. I saw him on Facebook. I was like, dude, thank you. So he's walking me to the vice principal's office. I'm just like totally like glum. And he's like, dude, give me that. I hand him the referral. He rips it up. He's like, just get out of here. Go home.
Nice.
And I'll take care of the carbon copy when I get back to the classroom. I'll take care of it. So like this TA like just totally did me a solid.
But awesome.
So after that, oh, and then there was a one of the most terrifying experiences in my life.
Yikes.
I don't know if I'll share. Well, I should share that one because, well, I don't know. We'll see if I cut it out or not. So I was cutting school around that same time, and there was this big abandoned apple orchard, like kind of kitty corner from the school, like where the Rincon Valley Christian School is now.
Yep.
And there used to be like a pharmaceutical supply, like little mini warehouse thing or something.
Yeah, you've told me this story before. This abandoned
building, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I went there, and some friends of mine were hanging out there and like smoking weed and stuff. And I was like, well, I kind of want to try weed, because I never had before, but I was considered myself a stoner kid, even though I was a poser stoner. So I thought, well, I'll go home and get some toothpaste and come back. So if I have pot on my breath, I can get rid of the pot smell on my breath.
A plan.
And I'm going to try this. So I went home, got toothpaste, went back to this building, and I get there and there's like nobody there, and there's like smoke coming out because they took a bunch of the like pill bottle labels and like made a fire. And so then I walked back out of the building and I hear fire engines coming.
Uh-huh.
And I just totally freaked out. And I jumped down in the creek and I took Brush Creek all the way from Badger to Middle Rincon and then walked Middle Rincon to Montecito Park and just sat there under the playground equipment.
Uh-huh.
It was raining. So I was just totally soaked from going through the creek and getting rained on. And I was like, oh, this is total bull. And I just went home and put on some warm clothes. And Mom came home and I said, I'm not going to go to school anymore. I'm just going to go hang out with Mike during the day. So we brought his stereo down and set it up downstairs. And we would just crank AC/DC and make these big, full cookie sheets of giant chocolate chip cookies and just rock out to AC/DC. And it was totally 13-year-old living,
right?
Nice glass of milk, a 10-inch circumference chocolate chip cookie, and AC/DC just cranked up. And then we'd kick back on the couch and watch Popeye or something.
Nice. What more do you need?
Nothing. Not nothing back then.
Nope.
But then his older brother John, who was a few years older, Mike was a couple years older than me, and then John was a couple years older than him. So John would always tease us AC/DC is there's nothing to him, it's why do you guys listen to this stuff? It's just and he was you should listen to Jethro Tull and stuff. And I'm just mentioning this because, we had Cross-Eyed Mary earlier on the playlist.
Uh-huh.
So, and I was well, I listen to Rush too. And he was yeah, okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, you're not just listening to total bonehead rock,
Right.
But it's who cares, Bonehead rock rules.
Yeah, totally.
It has mass appeal for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's good.
Right. Yeah, there's a difference between lowest common denominator and just basic solid rock and roll.
Yeah. But innuendo and lowbrow humor and all that stuff.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Totally. Same.
I'm not gonna put my pinky in the air when I talk about music.
No.
Well, maybe a little bit.
A little bit. But yeah, it's
yeah.
Yeah, AC/DC rules, man.
Yeah, and that's why we don't talk bad about music that we're not into, because hey, if you're into it, more power to you.
Yeah, and it's there's one simple trick when it comes to AC/DC that if you don't like it, or if you're with somebody who doesn't like it, all you have to do is turn it up.
Exactly.
Just keep turning it up until you like it or until they shut up. It's just that easy.
Okay. Speaking of types of cars.
Yes.
The other types of cars I was into around that same time period was lowriders.
Nice.
And I also had crushes on the lowrider girls.
Mm-hmm.
This next band is Lowrider. They're doing Leaf Hound's Freelance Fiend. Leaf Hound is probably the stoneriest of the proto-stoner bands.
Right.
Yeah. If you've never heard their album Growers of Mushrooms.
Huh.
By Leaf Hound. Definitely worth checking out. Lowrider's a good heavy band too. Just their original stuff it's worth a listen. But yeah, check out Leaf Hound's Growers of Mushrooms. It's pretty groovy.
Yeah. Next time I don't have anything to do for 8 to 10 hours, I'll Check that album out. I'll take my shoes off and like put my car keys on top of the fridge.
Freelance Fiend is a pretty cool name for a song too.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah, this is one that I wanted to do too.
Okay,
so I'm glad you picked it.
Yeah.
And I knew you were going to want to do a Clutch song.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, I need to leave some meat on the bone since I got here first. I don't want to take all the good stuff.
Well, I mean, it's not like we're not both going to talk about the songs. So
Right.
yeah, it's like there's enough rad stuff about this version of this song that we can both talk about it.
Yeah, plus I have to give you this one anyways because you're such a big Elton John fan.
That's true. I'm wearing my glasses right now. They're covered in rhinestones. And they're like 3 feet across.
Do you have a one of those keepers that's like got rhinestones and stuff on it too? So when you take your glasses off, it still
like
stays around your neck. Yeah, the little chain.
Yeah, the librarian chains. No.
Yeah.
I need to get one of those though.
Yeah, now I know what to get you for Christmas.
Oh man. Yeah, so the next pick is Halfway to Gone doing Elton John's Honky Cat.
So anything about Halfway to Gone or Honky Cat?
It's just the fact that like I never knew that was an Elton John song till I heard it on the radio after hearing this cover version and going,
oh man,
what? And it's like, it's still a good song, but like the Elton John version is like, it's more like, it's more like Herb Alpert, Tijuana Taxi. Like it has this like jaunty, like doot kind of to it. And it's like, what is this? And then it's like Elton John singing about being a redneck honky. It's like,
oh man,
this is supposed to be ironic, right? This is fully ironic.
Well, he's British for one.
Right. I know.
Yeah, I was always kind of against Elton John from an early age.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, he's got good songs.
Yeah.
I should listen to him more because I'm sure I could appreciate it. He always had great bands.
Yeah.
Good songwriting.
I got into him for a while. He does cool stuff, and like I don't think he writes all of his songs. Like he has, but like all the songs he doesn't write, the songwriters are like even better songwriters, like amazing songwriters. So like everything, all the songs he does are really well done. Like, you know, you might not like that genre or like not be into whatever, but like, you know, like even Candle in the Wind, like for what it is, like that song's really good. Like,
yeah, I was going to say like the closest thing I've had to an Elton John song on any of our playlists so far has been 10,000 Candles in the Wind.
Mm-hmm. Little different.
Yeah. But when I was going to Binkley Elementary, we would have PE class, like on rainy days, we'd have PE class in the cafeteria. And it was just sort of like dancer size or whatever.
Right.
And so you could pick what album everybody wanted to hear. And the media center had a copy of Kiss Alive.
Nice.
And I always wanted to hear that. But everybody else wanted to hear Elton John and Crocodile Rock or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You know that.
Yeah. That's
so like that was my first exposure to Elton John. It was just like this totally blows.
Yeah, that is definitely his weakest song and possibly his most famous. I mean, Candle in the Wind is probably more famous, but like from like the 70s era, Crocodile Rock's probably the most famous.
I'm Good by Yellow Brick Road's a great song, and
it is. But like Saturday Night's All Right. Like,
yeah,
that song rips, man. Like, I want to hear like a stoner doom rock version of that song. Like,
yeah, that'd be cool.
Or like a British oi punk band version of that song. Like a total soccer hooligan version. Would be rad.
Yeah, just Yeah, ever since elementary school, it's always like the way that the kids loved that, it's like the Wiggles or something,
Yeah.
It's just like, no. And they'd all just be like freaking out, like dancing around and stuff. And it's like, oh gosh, can I go home now? Or can I get a note to get out of this?
Oh man, sad. Yeah, Crocodile Rock it's something.
It's something.
Yeah, that would sour anybody's opinion of Elton John for sure.
Yeah, and also the
little kids. But yeah, I totally get what you mean. That like this is like they're giving us a chance to like exercise our democracy. Like we get to choose. It's this is like what you're choosing.
Yeah, it's still like that. I'm always the 1%er.
Yeah.
In just about everything, like 1 to 2%er, which is why I have an opinion podcast, I guess, about music.
Yeah, we have some guardrails up on our opinion podcast.
Yeah.
Keep it from just being a 3-hour
totally running off the rails
bitch session.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. It's just there's already too many opinions and too many negative opinions and too much negativity that it's like we decided from the beginning that it's like, no, we're only gonna talk about stuff we like. And it's like we don't have to like every song by an artist, but it's like, that like whatever metaphor you want to use, like even a blind pig finds an acorn. You could be like the worst artist in the world, but like still have something redeemable. Like you're still a person, like you're still sharing your point of view, and that's awesome.
Yeah, we do curb our opinions sometimes.
Yeah, so yeah, we're not just full on Pollyanna, but
well, maybe a little. Maybe we don't know it. Maybe we don't even know it.
La 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 la.
All right. Speaking of mushrooms,
yes,
this next one is. Oh, hold on! I got one more tangent.
Yeah.
So I talked about kudas and sucking the 70s too. Back in the Saddle has a Camaro on the front cover instead of a Cuda, which is kind of a downgrade. But Camaros are cool. Camaros are cool, but a Camaro's the fastest car I've been in as a passenger. A silver 69 Camaro that the guy who owns the brake shop in Eureka owned. And we went out to like Samoa, and he proceeded to scare the crap out of me going in a straight line. Fastest car I've ever been in a passenger. And then also the fastest car I've ever driven as a driver was a Camaro. My friend Tim, who's like a top-notch, like nostalgia class drag racer. Like, I don't know if you know anything about drag racing. My friend Tim, he has a Wally. If you know what a Wally is and you know anything about drag racing, it's like you're legit, It's like getting like an Oscar or something if you're an actor. So
or if you're like not a guitar player and you drop Rory Gallagher's name, like
right.
Okay, not talking to a total plebeian.
But yeah, so my friend Tim decided he wanted to try road racing also. So he had this Camaro ZL1 LE, which is basically like a track day car that the slide rule dudes at Chevy built to be like the fastest car around the Nürburgring.
Nice.
It's got like all kinds of downforce stuff, and it's supercharged and has like almost 700 horsepower or something.
Dang.
And yeah, like all these traction nannies and minders. Yeah, it was totally insane. And this one had been modified like from there. So
yeah, it was on our folk episode where I played that weird like hillbilly song that that Swiss band does. And like I couldn't remember the lady's name at the time, but like talking about the Nuremberg Sabine Schmidt, the Queen of the Ring, like one of the pace drivers that worked at Nuremberg. Like every time Top Gear went there, like she would always like give him crap.
Oh man.
And like there was
I remember that.
Yeah, there was like she told Jeremy Clarkson that like, well, yeah, that's a pretty good time. And he was like, what are you talking about? That's a great time. And she was like, I could do that time in a van. And so they had a race where he was in like some like slide rule
crazy supercar. Yeah,
it wasn't a crazy supercar, but it was like a slide rule edition Porsche. And and she was in like it wasn't a Sprinter van, because like those would be terrible because they have such a high center of gravity. It was like a passenger, like a big passenger van.
Oh man.
And they did everything they could. Like they took all the seats and stuff out of the back and like lightened it as much as they could, and then like taped up all the body panels and stuff. But so anyway, they like at one point they went to her house and like her house was, it looked like the weird cabin from that Swiss band's video.
Oh man. Yeah.
Where it was like over the top Americana like log cabin, like
whoa,
you know, with like wagon wheels and ropes and stuff and like barrel furniture.
Oh man, I'll have to go watch that episode.
Yeah, like I don't know, like it looked like John Wayne's house from The Searchers or something.
Oh man,
it was like, what?
That's nuts.
The hills outside Nuremberg. It's like total American, like, I don't know. Like, there were never really houses like that on the frontier. Like, kind of, but like, yeah, not really. That, like, cliche.
Speaking of
Sabine Schmidt.
Foreign cultures adopting American things and vans being driven fast, have we ever mentioned dodgy bonds on the podcast?
I don't think so.
You know what the dodgy bonds are, right?
No.
It's these Japanese guys that would buy like military base auction Dodge vans and take their motorcycles to the racetrack in them, because they were like bigger than, like Japanese vans weren't big enough to put a couple motorcycles in and take them to the track. So they started buying these like military surplus Dodge vans that were really good for hauling their motorcycles to the track and, you know, being customizers and the whole car culture and speed culture in Japan. They started kind of like fixing up these Dodge vans, like lowering them, like putting good tires and wheels on them and like souping them up.
Right.
So then like one guy during one of the motorcycle races, like when it was like some downtime, he thought, I'm going to take my van out on the track and just like see what it does.
Nice.
And a bunch of other guys joined in. And like, so now they have like a whole racing series where it's just Dodge vans.
Nice.
Yeah. And they call them dodgy bonds.
That's pretty
kind of
cool.
like the, you know, like the slang or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The Angloed Japanese dodgy bond.
Right. Yeah, that was the Top Gear where they went to Poland or like to Eastern Europe. When they were in Poland, maybe it was Slovakia. Oh, now I can't remember what they called it. But like people behind the Iron Curtain knew about Formula One, but like couldn't participate. So they like created this like Soviet racing league.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And so they're all like these super small cars with like cobbled together engines and stuff and parts.
Nice.
And they're like, yeah, like these little kind of mini race cars that are super cool. So it's like, I just love people like the whole run what you brung
Top
at
Gear
it.
was still on.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I love it when people race unconventional stuff. Like, I think there should be two. Like, I've never found NASCAR fascinating at all. That just like, oh, well, like everything has to be the same. So like, it's all about the driver skill. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, what it really is the science of cheating.
Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of cool too. Like I saw a thing about
not really.
Some of the cheats people did. Like what was it? You have to start with a rear bumper, but you don't have to finish with a rear bumper.
Oh man.
But I think there should be two like dumbbells of racing that like either have to have like completely unlimited class or it's just like whatever it takes, like as long as it's somewhat safe. You know, like the Group B rally racing.
Yeah, Group B was unlimited, but too many people died.
Yeah, but you know.
That's why Mercedes didn't race for decades.
Right.
Yeah.
But then like the other has to be like the total like here are the rules and the rules are hard and fast, but like anything within those like the Finnish like summer racing leagues.
Yeah.
Like it has to be like just something you built in a shed or like that, like those are the two ends of racing that I like.
And that's kind of how it is here with like dirt track at like county fairgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
But that's still kind of in that roundy round like NASCAR kind of thing.
Yeah, it's a little different. Like the
roundy round is a little, I don't know.
Yeah, but you know, like flat dirt track, that's still pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because but I mean, I wish there was more like just, you know, like rally type, you know, like close off a section of road.
Totally.
Or like hill climbs, like how the British do hill climbs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And before any car nerds send us emails, I know Top Gear is still technically on, but
yeah.
Or well, at least I think it is. I think it's still a going concern, but
yeah, you know what
we all
mean.
know it's not the same.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of mushrooms, this is the Mushroom River Band with another Joe Walsh song, but it's not a Joe Walsh song. It's a James Gang song. So this is Mushroom River Band with Walk Away. Yeah, I love James Gang.
Totally.
They're one of the first like 70s band that I like appreciated like the retroness of it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like in the 80s. It's like, I mean, it was only like 10 years old or something, but
right.
It's like, yeah, this is like really groovy, funky, like this is my favorite kind of music.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Yeah, that song's good too. Okay, so this next song is from a band that I really like, but I didn't know that it was their band or that it was their song. This is Scott Reeder doing a cover of Sugarloaf's Don't Call Us, We'll Call You.
Nice. That's a good one.
Yeah, I like that they kept like the dial beeps and stuff in it.
Yeah, Sugarloaf, known for their hit song Green Eyed Lady.
Mm-hmm. which is one of the coolest songs ever.
Pretty cool song. It's got some nice percussive Hammond organ in it.
Mm-hmm. And I always thought if I had to do like a 2-song karaoke, I would do Looking Glass.
If you had to choose only two.
If I had to choose only two. Brandy by The Looking Glass.
Yeah.
And Green-Eyed Lady.
Nice.
By Sugar
Some solid choices.
They both have kind of similar themes.
Yeah. I think for our 100th episode, what are we on, 31 now? If we can build our fan base enough for our 100th episode, we should have a karaoke night.
That'd be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I love
maybe our 200th episode. We'll see when our fan base is big enough, like enough people in a club somewhere to like sing karaoke.
Oh man,
then we can hear you actually sing those 2 songs.
Oh, great! How fun for you.
So if you haven't felt compelled to help build our listener base, just know that the payoff is going to be able to hear Clark sing karaoke.
Well, you have to do it too.
Oh yeah, I have my picks.
Okay,
I've talked about some of my picks in the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love like the kind of freaky, frenetic bass line in Green-Eyed Lady too, or that kind of like hook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, it's really creative.
Bam. Bam. Green-eyed lady, lovely lady.
Nice. So, yeah, I had Caius on my bonus playlist.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
For your birthday episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, Scott Reeder, man.
Mm-hmm.
Been in Caius when Wino reformed The Obsessed. Scott Reeder played bass for them.
Nice.
And, I mean, he's kind of the king of that whole desert rock thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was going to say,
and he currently plays bass for Fireball Ministry.
Oh, cool. That's cool. They're still around. Yeah. And now they're like a super group.
And he produced an Orange Goblin album.
What?
No spoilers.
No.
But we had Orange Goblin on our one of our heavy metal month episodes.
Yeah, and orange is the canonical goblin skin tone as well.
Nice.
From old school Dungeons and or Dragons. But yeah, like if you listen to like oldie stations or AM oldies like I did for a while, you're going to hear a lot of Green-Eyed Lady. And so I always thought they were like a one-hit wonder. Like they basically were until they wrote "Don't Call Us, We'll Call You" as like a kind of an FU to the recording industry, the record industry, and like it became a huge hit. Yeah, because they'd broken up and kind of reformed and got back together and like had stints of not doing music and giving up and stuff, and then like it was just like this fluke. They like out of kind of desperation or like exasperation wrote that song, so it's pretty cool. And so they became a two hit wonder like 10 years later.
Yeah, Caius was multi-talented. Every guy in that band has kind of like gone off and done their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of my favorites is the drummer from Caius, Brant Bjork. His solo stuff is amazing.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, check out Brant Bjork, The Future Rock, killer song.
Nice.
Yeah,
will.
Yeah, he's got some cool albums.
Yeah, they're one of those bands that I have yet to get into because they're like kind of right in the center of the Venn diagram. Like I like all these bands that have like done stuff with them or spun off from them. Like they're always just like right in the middle, and I'm like orbiting around them. So it's like it's only a matter of time till I turn into a total Caius nerd.
Yeah, Brant Bjork was also in Fu Manchu for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And our earliest Fu Manchu mention was on the Slow Down episode because the guitar player from Kraut was in Fu Manchu, one of the founding members of Fu Manchu.
Nice.
So, man, it's a bunch of talent. Is that Lemmy?
It's a crazy dog. I don't know who it is.
You don't recognize this crazy dog in your house? Oh, and Brent Bjork's latest band. Guess what they're called?
What?
Stoner.
Nice. Just get right to the point.
Yeah, talk about cornering the market. You're a stoner band? Oh, well, we're the stoner band. Sounds like there's a bear in your room.
There basically is.
Also, Scott Reeder was one of the bass players that tried out for Metallica.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. Lars invited him to come try out. Okay, this next song is Dozer with a cover of Devo's Mongoloid.
Yeah.
Lest we forget that the 70s was more than just Camaro rock, you know?
True. Yeah, there was some pretty avant-garde stuff happening.
More than just Camaro rock and crocodile rock.
Right. Yeah, I have two adjacent stories about that specific cover. So I used to listen to both of these at work quite a bit, and I've had several of just paste eater supervisors, just dullards. And it's like, if you're dumb and nice, I'm totally fine with that. If you're dumb and mean,
yeah, it's like, oh, hold on a minute.
Yeah,
hold on just a second.
So I had this one supervisor, and it was just like, he couldn't understand why I did anything the way I did it, and didn't understand that, like, it wasn't his, like, his job was to, like, leave me alone and make sure that there was somebody to, like, do my job on my days off. Like, that's it. That's the only time you need to talk to me. And, like, I got this. Like, just stay out of my way. But, like, that just didn't jive with him. And it was like, okay, quit. Like, now you went from trying to manage me to trying to micromanage me. And it's like, you don't understand your position here, that, like, we're coworkers. Like, your name isn't on the sign out front. And so it's like, luckily, if you're a mail carrier, you get to escape the office for half of your day. And, I mean, they can still contact you via the scanner and stuff, which is annoying. But, like, for the most part, you're on your own out on the route. And so it was like, oh, man, this guy is, like, so dumb. And, like, does he just, like, go home and he's like, I did a great job today. Like,
I'm super.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, you didn't do jack all.
I'm not just a visor. I'm a supervisor.
Exactly. Dude, like, you got in my way. Like, you slowed me down. Like, you're inefficient at being a speed bump. And so it was like, dude, like, this guy has a job and he wears a hat. And he, like, gets in his little car and drives home. And it's like,
brings home the bacon.
Yeah. And, like, he serves no purpose. And, like, no one knows and no one cares except for me. It's like, dude. So it was like, dude, this song's totally about him.
Oh, man.
And so I told...
So you could spite listen?
Yeah, I could spite listen. I could sing along and know it was about this dude. So I told our brother-in-law about that. Like, oh, man, like, idiot supervisor, but, like, the silver lining is I get to, like, make fun of him in my head listening to this Devo cover. And he was like, what? Somebody covered Devo? Like, that's sacrilege.
Oh, man.
Like, what's you can't cover Devo. Like, what's the point? Like, it's already perfect. And it's like, okay, but it's good.
Devo is pretty perfect.
Yeah, but it's like,
yeah,
they write some good songs, and it's like, I love cover songs. Like, I love hearing other people's like perspective on a song.
Put their lens on it.
Yeah. Like, there's value in that. Like, regardless of how like anti-pop, anti-commercial counterculture Devo was, it's like, I mean, they had a cultural impact and influenced people, and like people liked their music.
Yeah, and if you are going to cover something, if you do it exactly the same way, like, what's the point of that?
Right. Yeah, put your own point of view into it.
Yeah, it's
put
pointless.
Your own sauce on it.
Even though the Devo version is perfect, to play it just like Devo there'd be no point to it.
Right. Yeah. So those are my two Mongoloid cover stories.
Nice.
How like they kind of socket together. It was like one led to the other.
I was watching this YouTube channel, this homeschooling with Tom Bukovac, and he was going around all the guys in the recording studio. They're like hanging out on a break. He was asking what their best concert and what their worst concert they'd ever seen was. And it made me think, one of my worst concerts I've ever seen, it was a Earth Day. It was a free concert in San Francisco. And it was kind of iffy weather. And we heard that last minute Devo was going to appear. So me and Sean and I think Steve and some other people went down, and we were totally stoked because, like, back then Devo wasn't playing around much anymore.
Right.
So it was like this, like, once in a lifetime thing. It felt like. So we went there, and it was kind of threatening to rain all day. And we got there, and Jefferson Starship was playing.
Whoa.
And they just kept playing and kept playing and kept playing. And Devo was supposed to be on next. And people started chanting, "We want Devo. We want Devo." And Starship was getting pissed. It's like,
I'll bet.
We built this city. Like, they weren't saying that, but it's like San Francisco, we're getting booed off stage in San Francisco.
Yeah, this is our town.
Because they want to hear Devo. And like the guitar player was flipping off the audience, and it was really poor on both sides. So Devo starts setting up, and people are getting like excited, and then it starts raining.
Oh man!
And it's an outdoor concert. They come out, they play a couple notes, and say, "Sorry, we can't play." It's like, we just got shocked, and it's too wet, and we got to call it.
Oh,
sorry.
Man.
So, yeah, worst concert, having to sit through Starship. And I'd go see Starship just to hear Starship. But, like, when you're driving to the city, because it's like a last-minute chance to see Devo, who hasn't been playing at all.
Right. Oh,
yeah,
man.
Worst concert. Worst concert ever.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
And, I mean, you were talking about karaoke, and, I don't know. There's some Starship songs that I would pull out on karaoke night.
Totally.
But yeah, Devo. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder, like, did Starship just have like a long set because they were like local heroes, or like were they having to like fill time because Devo was
it's
like late?
No, it's like they thought every song was everybody's favorite song or something. I don't know.
Okay, that's bad.
Yeah,
because like, I went to see Uli John Roth one time, and I think they were on their way from.
Oh yeah, you talked about this.
Yeah, from Sacramento to, like, their tour bus broke down like an hour away.
Yeah,
and like they were kept giving the club like updates, but it was like, okay, well, like, Santa Rosa noise ordinance, like, they're only allowed to play until like 1 a.m. And so like the opening band was like a local band, like a local rock band. And they're like,
do we know any more songs?
Well, no, they were like, we don't know any more songs, but like we could, like, I think they got up and they played some covers, and then they're like, that's kind of it. Like, we could play our set again, I guess. That way you guys aren't just like twiddling your thumbs. And everybody's like, sure, you guys were good. And so they played like their whole set again. And it was like, you know, they took one for the team, that it's like you guys didn't come to see us. We know that, let alone come to see us twice. But like, rather than just have like dead air, like, we'll put ourselves out there again. And it was like, that's cool. That's life on the road, man. Like, that's the way to do it. And yeah,
man.
Yeah. And then
adapt. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Ulis band showed up and like played until like the very last minute, till like the club owner was like, I'm going to lose my license. Like, the cops are going to come.
Yeah. And Starship could have adapted too by getting off the stage.
Right. Or playing a Dio,
I don't know.
cover.
They would have been
rad.
cut short anyways.
True. Would it have made the situation better or worse if like everybody starts chanting, we want Dio?
We want Devo. And then it's like, okay.
Yeah. And they like,
here's a song by Devo.
Start playing Whip It.
Performed by Starship.
Yeah. Like,
I bet Grace Slick could have done a good version of Whip It.
Totally. Yeah, it would have been cool. Maybe not. Like, you're on a razor's edge there of like, oh man, that's awesome. Okay, like, you brought us back. Or like Kiss versus the Phantom of the Park. Like, let's tear this place apart.
Yeah,
people start pulling plywood down and fashioning weapons.
Oh man, they could have just kept playing Jane over and over again.
Oh man.
The thing that turned me on Starship was one of their videos. I can't remember which one it was. Maybe it's They Say We're Crazy. What do they know? Yeah, that's a good karaoke one. But one of their videos, like I think it's the drummer. It's like in some bed with like all these satin sheets, and he's like kind of like hanging over the edge of the bed and like doing dumbbell curls or something. It's like,
what?
Ew. It's like, oh man. Gross.
Yeah, maybe Tina from Toronto's husband is into that. Loves that video.
Okay. So, continuing with the theme that not every 70s song was, total butt rock.
Mm-hmm.
This is Orange Goblin, which we talked about.
Yep.
Singing The Damned's New Road. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Killer cover of a killer song.
Yeah. Just blistering.
And that might be the perfect punk rock song, It's
pretty good. It's up there.
It's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, they wrote a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love Orange Goblin.
Yeah. Yeah,
those guys are a class act.
Masters of that fuzz tone.
Yep.
Down tune. Heavy.
Oh, man.
Stoner sound.
Yeah. Oh, man. I keep looking at the list. I'll let you introduce it because I just did 2 in a row. Were any of those 2 one of your picks also?
Well, I didn't pick Dozer's Mongoloid.
But you would have?
Yeah, I would have. I was like, okay. Yeah, 8 is enough. Speaking of 70s. And so it was like, oh, man. Yeah, the only one that was really on my list, and then same with Orange Goblin. But, like I said, it's like every single song on these compilations is just magic. But yeah, so the next one, it was like, that was the only one that was specifically on my list. And then also on yours.
Yeah, this next song, This is one of my favorite bands doing a cover from another of my favorite bands.
Right. Okay. So you, because like I'm not familiar with Moss Generator at all.
Oh, dude. I love them.
Okay. I will check out more of their stuff.
They rule.
Okay.
Like, yeah, they totally rule.
I'm adding them to my YouTube music library right now.
Yeah, we'll talk about them after we listen to it. Yeah, dude. Just listen to Electric Mountain Majesty as soon as we get off.
Well, Songs for Future Gods caught my eye as well. Okay, yeah.
Shadowlands and Electric Mountain Majesty.
Oh, dude.
Those two albums.
The cover for Shadowlands.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Dang. All right. Yeah, I'm going to listen to those while I cook dinner tonight.
Those are my two favorite albums.
Okay. I'll check them both out. Yeah, so why don't you go
Nomads is pretty good, too.
Why don't you go ahead and introduce them then?
Oh, okay. Since you love them so much, why don't you introduce them?
You do it.
All right. This is Most Generator with a rare deep cut from Rush. So this is Rush's Garden Road. Yeah, I don't know why they have the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers on there as the video.
It's cool, though.
It's cool. Yeah.
It fits. Yeah. So I had never heard the bootleg, the Fifth Order of Angels, the like early live Rush bootleg before.
Uh-huh.
And so I had never heard that song until long after I heard the Most Generator version. And so like when I finally got a copy of the Rush bootleg, it was like, wait a minute, I know this song. I've never heard Rush play this song, but I know it. And it was like a total through the looking glass moment where it was like, wait, what's happening right now? What's happening in my little tiny brain?
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, they have that like 1974 ABC or something disc. It has a bunch of like pre-album stuff, and it has Garden Road on it too.
Nice. Yeah, so I think Garden Road is a euphemism, like the Garden Road, the garden path. Yeah, going to score some nookie.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense.
And in Eastern Europe, like Russia and Finland specifically, what is it? The woodland path? Or
Dasha?
The forest path?
Oh,
where are like Olaf and Olga? They went down the woodland path. They'll be back in a while. About an hour and a half. Oh, right on. All right, cool.
Well, it's interesting because
sometimes
the Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Sometimes literally, like they go off, go out in the woods.
Yeah,
bring a blanket, a little picnic,
get back to nature.
Yeah,
get natural.
Nice.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because Invasion of the Body Snatchers is an allegory for communism.
Mm-hmm.
We watched it as part of my kids' homeschooling.
Nice. Well,
had them write essays on it.
It's not just communism. It's like
any kind of like
group
mob
think.
thought.
Yeah,
group think.
In group, out group.
But specifically, that original version was made during that Cold War time period.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that was a total Red Scare movie for sure.
Yeah.
Good
check out Most Generator. Well, I always call it Most Generator, but it literally is Moss Generator.
Moss Generator, okay.
Yeah, they're band. They're from Port Orchard, Washington.
Okay.
Which is kind of right on the bay there.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever that body of water is there.
Puget Sound.
Puget Sound, yeah. The Sound. They're at the southern end of the Sound. And they named their band, they had this big 26-inch Ludwig bass drum. And because it's so humid and wet up there, it was like literally growing moss on it.
Whoa.
But it was like their best sounding bass drum. Because it's just, like a big John Bonham bass drum. And they named the bass drum the Moss Generator because it kept growing moss on it.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And so here at the studio, this will tell you, I mean, I loved this band even before this, but this is how cool these guys are. I emailed Tony Reed, who like produces and records all their albums. And he produces and records a lot of the bands up there in that area in his home studio.
Yeah.
But so I emailed him, and because I was having trouble like getting my big 26-inch Ludwig bass drum to record well.
Okay.
And so I emailed him asking him about that. Like, oh, do you have any quick tips? I'm just curious. I figured the guy who named his band after a 26-inch Ludwig bass drum,
right, might have some insight.
And just listening to your albums, it's like the kick drum sound you get is killer. It's like, give me some tips. I'm here to learn.
Clearly, you've figured it out. Do you care to share your secrets?
Yeah, and he replied to me, and he was like, "Dude, just call me." Sent me his phone number.
Whoa.
Yeah. I call him up, we talk for like an hour and a half just about this and that and like heavy stoner music and recording and, how to get a bass drum to sit well and stuff. And
cool.
Talking about our favorite kick drum tones on record.
Oh, man.
And he's just such a cool dude.
Like nerd found nerd.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, like
he's like, yeah, we're on the same page. It's like,
nice.
If I lived up there, we'd be hanging out for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that when it's like you find somebody that has like
personable,
similar.
They're real people.
Yeah. Plus, and then when you find somebody with similar passions and you just bro down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always cool.
Yeah, he's got a great solo album of acoustic stuff called Funeral Suit. Some cool songs on there. And he also has kind of an Americana band, but they're kind of like a heavy Americana band.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, called Hot Spring Water. And that's a really cool album. They have a bunch of live videos of them on YouTube. They're really cool, kind of Neil Youngish, like Neil Young and Crazy Horse type of Americana.
Nice.
But like more psychedelic, CCR heavy. Like if CCR was heavy, or I don't know. I don't want to pigeonhole him too much. But yeah, it's that one's worth checking out too. He's just got a bunch of cool projects going on, like multi-talented kind of guy. And nice. But yeah, Moss Generator. They just rule.
So was his tip for getting that sweet sound out of a big bass drum to put a humidifier in it?
No. No.
It's like, oh, well, is it too dry?
It looks like he's
you go
playing in Pentagram now.
Oh, cool.
In the new reboot of Pentagram?
Possibly.
Which,
man, they just played down in San Francisco like a month ago, and I couldn't make it.
Yeah. He's also in this band, speaking of the desert rock guys, like Scott Reeder and those guys.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they have a stoner super group called Big Scenic Nowhere. And it's got guys from Fu Manchu, Most Generator, Yawning Man. Yeah, they just get together, jam out and make these albums and then put them out.
Cool.
So, yeah, he's part of that too. So
nice.
It's Gary Arce, Bob Balk, Bill Stinson, and Tony Reed are the main members. But that stuff is like that desert rock, but it's kind of more atmospheric and like trippy, spacey, just like meditative. So like I know some people listen to stoner rock for like the meditation aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
And big scenic nowhere is like peak stoner supergroup meditation kind of music.
Like
if you ground yourself through heavy stoner rock,
right? Like
it's worth checking out. Yeah.
Is it like down the Ohm path, down the Ohm Garden Road?
Yeah, they're a little more mystical than that, but I don't know, more artsy, I guess.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
I'll check them out too.
Oh yeah, that's fun. The other picks are mine too.
Yeah.
But yeah, Most Generator, check them out. Especially Electric Mountain Majesty and Shadowlands. The whole albums just are like some of the best albums.
Yeah, I added them to my library. I will listen to them while I make dinner tonight.
Okay, this next one is Honky with Pat Travers, Snortin' Whiskey. Oh man,
that looked pretty fun. So
those are some real honkies. That's not the British
honky cat.
Fictional honky cats. Those are the real honky cats.
I was going to say
Austin, Texas.
That like you and me and all those guys that were on stage could be in a police lineup.
Yeah, and they wouldn't be able to pick they'd
be able to pick us because we don't have any tattoos. Like that's
true.
Only like those guys even kind of dress like you and me. Like they look like us. And then, kind of like cargo pants and t-shirts.
I also don't curl my cowboy hats quite so tight.
Well, you're not from Texas, so.
Well, I wear cowboy hats. I don't curl them so tight.
Right. Well, that's the thing. Like, in Texas, you gotta zhuzh them up a little bit.
The bass player in there is Jeff Pincus, who was the bass player for the Butthole Surfers, another Texas band, and another Austin tie-in, I guess, which is not that great, but drinking cocaine diluted in whiskey is what gave Steve Ray Vaughan stomach ulcers and put him in rehab.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't pick that for Honky, even though Honky's interesting. I didn't pick it for Honky. I picked it because it's a Pat Travers song.
Cool.
Pat Travers is great. Back in my junior high school strike days, I was an avid Pat Travers fan.
Nice.
As were a lot of Bay Area metalhead dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Enough of that. Moving on. So this next one, coolest band name ever, and like
100%
automatically make us love them because we're both like total what's the word, Squatch wannabe believers.
Yes. What's the
there probably isn't a Sasquatch, but man, it would be cool if there was.
Brian Dunning from the Skeptoid podcast.
Oh yeah,
he described himself as a Bigfoot hopeful.
Yeah.
That he's not a believer because perfect. It's like, there's a lot of bad evidence. There's no good evidence.
Yeah.
And like, it's highly unlikely, but it would be cool.
Oh man. I found a Bigfoot print one time. Like, I mean, out in the wilds where nobody was.
Right.
Up in the Coast Range. And my boss was with me, and my boss saw like, he was an older, like Vietnam era government worker dude, also a range guy. And we were up in the Coast Range, and I found it and I showed it to him, and he actually saw the original Patterson Gimlin film when they were like coming around and like showing it at like moose lodges on 8mm projectors or
walling it.
Yeah. Yeah, he actually went to like go see that. So we were both like Squatch hopefuls. And I found a Bigfoot print, and I was excited for about 15 seconds till we both got in and I got a closer look at it. And then I looked at like what was before it and what was after it. And what it was a bear running uphill.
Yeah.
So that its rear paw was landing and superimposing over the front paws.
Right.
But it looked just like a Bigfoot print. And I was super excited until I like started realizing like, oh wait, it's a bear running uphill.
Or is that just how Sasquatch like hides his tracks? Like,
oh, he was doing like some heel toe, like fancy maneuvering.
No,
to, like throw me off the scent.
You know, because like bears have like a smell and stuff. Like, do Sasquatch?
Well,
like,
so do Sasquatch.
Right. But like, do Sasquatch follow bears around?
Maybe it was a Bigfoot hunting or a Bigfoot hunting a bear.
Right. Or do they like carry around like a basket full of berries or like venison or something to like get bears to follow them to like cover their tracks? Like maybe you just found like the one actual Sasquatch track that hadn't been trampled by a bear. It's plausible.
And I did have a strange experience in Trinity County, which is where Willow Creek is. We have ancestors buried in the Willow Creek Cemetery there.
Yep.
I was driving around on some back roads along Willow Creek, and I heard some weird sounds, and then things started like being thrown at my car.
Whoa.
I was in like a Blazer, like 4-wheel drive Blazer thing. And yeah, so we were going down this like kind of remote road, and I heard these weird sounds, kind of sound like an owl, but it was during the day. And then like sticks started getting thrown at our vehicle, which was pretty weird.
That is pretty weird.
And I mean, you know, it could have been like pot growers or something, like trying to spook us out or something, but it was very Bigfooty, you know, like those not like you said, the bad evidence, you know, it's like I could have called into Coast to Coast and been like, I had an experience, but
definitive proof.
Who knows what it was.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it could have been a squirrel up in a tree, like getting spooked by an owl, and like the owl
they were like
making noise and squirrel freaked out.
No, they were like bigger sticks than like what a squirrel would have knocked down. Somewhere between sticks and limbs.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And they weren't coming from above.
Oh.
They weren't like dropping.
Right.
It was like, okay, that was weird.
Getting flung.
They were flung, yeah.
By an unknown primate.
Right. And big feet are
bipedal
purported
primate
to fling things.
It's true.
Oh, wait. Have we even listened to this song yet? Okay. This is Sasquatch performing another Grand Funk Railroad song, Are You Ready?
Yeah.
Man.
First off, like that song kicks off the second compilation, and it's just like,
yeah, nice.
Yeah, just busts the doors in, and just like, it's such a statement. Are you ready? Like, so good. They're one of the bands that I was like already into.
Yeah.
And
their album's good. It's heavy.
Yeah. I think they might have been the band that led me to these compilations.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, there was like such rad music coming out in like the early 2000s. Like after years of just like, man, like heavy music isn't good anymore. And then, like, I totally
then
had...
you heard Clutch.
Well, I heard the Sword first.
Oh, yeah.
It was like the first Sword album. It's just like...
Oh, man.
Dude. Like, new music is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that it was like...
Yeah, they're taking all the stuff I already love and, like, turning it up a notch.
Yep.
Refining it down.
Yeah.
Pure gold.
Yeah, so, like, found Clutch, found Sasquatch, found Orange Goblin, like, a bunch of these bands.
Doesn't Clutch have a song about cryptids?
Sleestack Lightning.
Sleestack Lightning, Sasquatch. And I never considered that this next song could be about the Jersey Devil.
It could be.
We might have to start a new podcast.
Yeah, like nobody does like cryptid podcasts. Like that's an untapped market for sure.
Oh, I know, totally.
We could corner the market.
Ooh, or we could do like a true crime thing.
Ooh, like a cryptid crime.
True cryptid crimes. They were before my time, but man, like Grand Funk Railroad was like the ultimate party band.
Totally.
And I just added two new entries onto our master episode list. I put Parliament Funkadelic on there.
Cool.
Like we were discussing. And then I also put party songs.
Nice.
Because, yeah, there's a few I'm thinking of. And that song there, that's a total party song.
Oh, totally.
Not an American party song, but, well, it is an American party song.
Right.
By an American band. But
I think it's Red Solo.
And I guess
Cup
there
time.
would be solo cups there. Maybe the British aren't that far off on like what our American honky turn-ons are.
Yep, they got us pegged, man.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. So the next song is one of the rare songs that's less rockin' than the original on this compilation, but just the way it works, like it just works so well. Like the singer's got a totally awesome voice, and it just like somehow this song in a completely different music genre still works and sounds cool, like sounds fitting. So this is, and I have to read the whole thing. It's not complete on the YouTube video. This is Whitney Morgan and the Maycross, Georgia Farm Boys.
Nice.
Playing Runnin' with the Devil, originally by Van Halen.
Oh, man. That's so cool.
Right? It's like,
yeah.
It's like eating caramel corn for the first time, where it's like popcorn's supposed to be like salty and buttery. Like it's not supposed to be sweet. And it's like, nope, like the sweet and the salty like work together. It's like this, this is perfect. Yeah. So it starts out like the same, that like intro. And then like
you think it's coming, and then they just
and it's like it's at the end of one of the discs. It's like the last song on one of the discs.
Nice.
And so you're already primed. So even if you've like read the liner notes, like you listen to a bunch of like fuzz tone stoner rock versions.
Right.
And so it's like, oh man, this is going to be like some blistery, doomy Running with the Devil. This is going to be cool. And like the intro starts and you're like, oh yeah. And then like the twangy guitar comes in and it's like, this is working. This is working really well. Like the singer with organ comes in and starts singing, and it's like, this is cool.
Get out your red string and your thumbtacks.
Okay,
here.
It's Conspiracy Corner.
See this orange one right here?
The MXR.
Yeah, MXR Phase 90.
Mm-hmm.
MXR Phase 90 is a phase shifter. And
set your phase shifters for stun.
Yeah. The two most famous users of the MXR 90 phase shifter are one, Eddie Van Halen.
Mm-hmm. Edward Van Halen.
Yeah, and two, Waylon Jennings.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, Whitney Morgan and the Maycross, Georgia Farm Boys were tapping into the intersection there.
And they were using a Phase 90. You could hear it on the guitars.
On the corner of Van Halen and Jennings. Down at the crossroads.
Van Jennings. Yeah.
That's a
Running with the Jersey Devil.
That's a pretty cool band name. Like, I don't know. It might be too cheesy to like go the other way. Like you have the Country Fried Running with the Devil and then like a rocked up theme from Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah. Maybe not.
Yeah. It'd be fun to hear once.
Yeah, that's a good way to like end it too, because it's just like shifts gears and like
nice little coda.
Yeah. Little palate cleanser.
Mm-hmm.
To exit the playlist.
Yeah.
So
that's a fun one to like play for other people to share. Because it's like, if you're over a certain age, you've heard the Van Halen song.
Yeah.
And so like the fake out and then
I wish there was more kind of compilation cover albums like this, because there's such a like gold mine of maybe a game being introduced to a band you haven't heard before, or maybe revisiting an old song you forgot about, or getting turned on to a song you haven't heard before and you want to hear what the original band's version sounded like. Right. And that's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down.
Mm-hmm.
You might listen to this playlist and go, well, that's not really my type of music, but you can like take so many off ramps from any one of these songs and like find something cool.
Totally.
You might even find Sasquatch. If you know where to look.
Don't call him.
Are you ready? Are you ready for that?
Don't call him. He'll call you. Don't.
When you're running with the Jersey Devil, don't go too fast down that garden road.
Nice.
Yeah, if you do end up in Sin City, just walk away.
Yeah. Dang it. You got there before I did.
It's a wicked world.
Yeah.
You don't want anything bad to happen. You might have to call a doctor.
Yeah, it's a wicked world full of crazy horses and red hot mamas.
Oh, I did want to talk about like, what the heck is Doctor about?
Yeah,
that song is so weird. It's like the movie Saw or something.
Well,
and what was that movie with that lady where she breaks the guy's legs and then takes care of him, but like keeps him prisoner in her house or something?
Yeah,
reminds me of that.
Well, but it's like he's like begging the doctor for help because he's horny for this chick, and so it's like, and the doctor,
you don't know the shape I'm in.
Yeah,
here, hold on, let me pull up some lyrics here.
Yeah, and it's like it's before like Viagra and stuff, so I don't think it's like an ode to erectile dysfunction. Yeah, it's like, I don't know, like I'm freaking out, doctor. Like, give me something to like take this horny pain away.
Oh man,
like that's what I get from the lyrics.
No, oh crap!
What happened?
I'm reading the lyrics. I'm like, what? Wait, what? No, wait, what? It was Doctor from the Thompson Twins. The mess I'm in. She walked up to me, stole my heart. Oh, she started taking my body apart. See, I thought the doctor was the one taking his body apart.
No, she like ripped his heart out.
Okay. Nervous boy. oh, the mess I'm in, can't take any more. Now, what's the thing about, but you looked so angry as I crawled across your floor. She's got the strain and I can't take any more. Like, who's looking angry? The doctor?
That's kind of how I took it, that he's like, dude, just leave me alone. Your insurance won't cover a broken heart. Like, just go talk.
Or blue balls.
Yeah. Just like go talk to her, or like pound one out in the bathroom. Like, leave me alone, dude.
Okay.
I got people with real problems.
I thought it was like a female doctor that he's in love with, and she's like torturing him.
I mean, it could be.
Okay. It makes more sense your way. And it's less worrisome.
Well, yeah, I shouldn't tell this story. A, it's not my story, and B, it's pretty problematic.
Well, you can tell me. I'll cut it out.
Or you can decide whether it fits. Because, I mean, it definitely fits the theme. Yeah, and an unnamed radio personality that I used to listen to, he used to talk about having to get his prostate checked, and his doctor was like this 6 foot tall, really good looking Asian lady.
Oh man.
And she had like a total sexy voice. She'd like tell him just to relax, like talk to him to put him at ease while she was checking his prostate. He was like the other radio host was like, was that in a big brick building down in San Francisco? Because I don't think she's an actual doctor. She might have been dressed like one.
Actually, now that I think about it, she was dressed more like a sexy nurse.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I didn't know fishnets were part of the uniform.
Okay, do you want some more, another conspiracy theory?
Sure.
Red thread story?
Yep. Get your red thread and your thumbtacks. It's conspiracy corner.
This is going to tie it all together, but it's bad. They weren't selling anything. So the family had gone through, taken everything. The parents had passed. The family had gone through taking everything they wanted, and they were giving people a chance to go through and get anything they wanted before they just donated all the rest.
Oh, okay.
So my daughter went and, found a few little keepsakes and stuff that she wanted. But that doctor is the same doctor that performed my physical for scout camp. And he told me it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when you're going to end up with a hernia.
Oh, dang.
Like during the whole turn your head and cough check thing.
Right.
I was like, oh, great. So, yeah, one of the people that owned the house that she went through to get things was that doctor. So I did end up maybe a couple years ago now with a pretty bad hernia. And so I had to get it confirmed, like with a ultrasound. And it's a certain type of hernia. It's not like a torn thing. It's that the opening of like where your balls drop,
right,
like doesn't quite close up all the way. So
yeah, well, it never actually does. Yeah. It's like the most common way to get a hernia. And like a lot of dudes get them and never know.
Right. So that's the kind that I got. Yeah, that's the kind that I got. And I've done some stuff to take care of it. The surgeon said, well, if you can like deal with it and take care of it and it's not causing you pain, because I didn't want to get put under again. I had a really bad experience getting surgery when I got surgery. Yeah, so I had to go to the imaging center and had to go to the imaging center.
I can only imagine.
And it's like this really cute girl
ultrasound. They have to put that gel on you.
Yeah, like down there, putting the gel on. It's all warm. She's poking that thing around. But it wasn't just that. And she was she's like a cute, like imaging technician or whatever. But she was training someone else that day who was also really cute.
Oh, no.
So it took a little bit longer. And it was like, yeah, do you see that? Okay, you see that? Yeah, there. Okay, no, you want it over here. It's like, so these two cute girls and like,
let my hand guide your hand.
So,
man, that's awful.
I did really well. I managed not to like have any issues.
Good.
Yeah. But it was, I don't know. I have a lot of self-control. I managed to not let myself go there at the time.
Right. Just,
I could like kind of go to a
disassociate,
a less happy place.
Yes. Oh man. Yeah. I had like a pain in my side a few years ago that I had to get, they thought it might've been my liver. And so they did like an ultrasound of my liver. And like, that was like not sexy at all. It was just like, it's like, I couldn't wait to get home to take a shower because it's like, they wipe off the goo, but you still have like goo residue on you.
There's still residue. Yeah.
Yeah. And you just feel all like sticky. Yeah. So I couldn't imagine it being down in the junk region, in the grundle region.
Man. Yeah. It all worked out. I haven't had to have surgery and it's gotten better since then.
That's good. And you didn't get Me Too'd.
Right.
They didn't have to call security.
Or in that case, it would have been Me 3'd.
Yes.
Oh, man. I think we're going to lose our PG rating on this one.
Oh, man.
Not for kids.
There was no crawling across the floor and angry looks.
No.
That's good.
Yeah, luckily I didn't have to have my body torn apart. Anyways. End of the conspiracy connections segment.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, everything relates to everything else.
It does, man.
Yes, there's no pure isolation in the universe.
Synchronicity.
Synchronicity.
Call back to the chips. We talked about chips.
Oh, man.
There's like the ancillary character dude who had like the lateral lisp. He was like reading this like new age book, and it was like everything, like there's no coincidences. Like the universe like has synchronicity.
Right.
That was
symbiosis.
Like, yeah, that was like the theme or like the running gag throughout the episode. So like the guy just kept going, synchronicity.
Nice.
Like every time it was like, wait, like you guys had to get a cat out of a tree or, whatever. It was like, whatever there was like a parallel in the plot. You'd be like, synchronicity.
Well, I kind of believe in that because stuff like that just tends to happen in my life.
Yeah. And there's like I can never remember the name of the phenomena of the, like, once you learn about something, then you notice it more.
Yeah. Like
it has meaning to you. And so like you pick up on it more. I was introduced to the concept by a comic and like a web comic. And like, I remember the comic, but I don't remember the phenomena because that's how my brain works. Because like the character in the comic strip, like read a dictionary entry for lanting, which is,
I don't know that one,
the medieval use of stale urine as a food additive.
Oh, interesting.
Like I I knew that they used it for like the ammonia for like washing clothes.
Didn't we talk about this already?
Probably. We talk a lot about pee on our podcast.
Yeah.
But so
I wonder why.
So then he started noticing it everywhere, and like he was like having a panic attack, like running down the street, and it was like all these signs for like Lanted ale and stuff, because like that was actually a thing. Like,
oh man,
one of the things they added stale urine to as a bittering agent.
Yikes.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
so like I
have had some things with too many hops that piss probably would have tasted better then.
Yes, I am firmly in that camp. There's a meme that I sent to my friends. Some of them thought it was funny. Some of them were jokingly appalled. But the proper way to enjoy an IPA, and it shows like these hands like using a bottle opener, and then the hands pouring it down the sink.
Nice. Oh man.
Yeah. I'm not a fan.
You should tune into our other podcast where we describe memes.
Yes.
We'll talk about cryptids, and then we'll have a podcast describing meme.
Yeah. Taking a visual medium and translating it into audio.
Oh man. When The Secret was a big thing, talking about universe and New Age and synchronicity.
I have a name for that podcast.
What is it?
Theater of the Meme.
Whoa.
Like Theater of the Mind.
Theater of the Mind, but Theater of the Meme.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Go ahead.
The name's better than the podcast would be.
Definitely.
But yeah, when the Secret was really big.
Yes.
Somehow it was like on PBS or something. They had an infomercial thing or something on PBS about The Secret, like for the book. And
it was huge.
Yeah. So like
my wife and I always Oprah and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. My wife and I always joked about it, but then we like saw the actual like thing and we watched it because it was like so funny to us because we had friends that were always talking about it. And so, and people were always talking about like synchronicity.
Right.
And synergy, like stuff like that. And we were also like taking sign language at the time. So we started like whenever somebody would say it, we'd do this, we'd go. Bring our two hands together and like kind of intertwine them.
Yep.
So like whenever you say that, whenever somebody would say it or whenever we would say it, we would do that hand motion. It became like this inside joke with us.
I like it.
So now our podcast is about hand signs that you can't see.
Yeah, it's
talking about inside jokes with sign language.
It's the only ASL meme podcast.
For the hearing impaired. Sorry, folks. This one's kind of gone off the rails. It's probably time to
wrap
pull the chute.
Yep.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, my ex was super into that book when it first came out. And
nice. Your ex.
Yeah. And I had already begun my education in critical thinking thanks to the Skeptoid podcast and Monster Talk. And
I'm a Skeptoid skeptic. How meta is that?
This is just total BS. Like,
right.
It was like, do you not see like what hogwash this is? Like, come on. But it was on Oprah. It's like,
oh, well, that's legit then.
Uh-huh. That's this logical fallacy. Yeah.
Nice.
And then it was like,
yeah, logical fallacies was like a huge part of my my homeschooling curriculum.
Nice. I mean, that needs to
my
be.
My kids are
like,
so like garbage and propaganda proof.
Nice. That's fantastic. Yeah, because like, logical fallacies and critical thinking, man, like that is a toolkit that needs to be taught to every kid. Yeah, because like when Oprah first had Dr. Oz on, and it was like the very first one. Or no, it wasn't the first one. He had been on before. And like my ex and her mom were like, oh yeah, Dr. Oz, like this guy's like a genius and he totally knows all this cool stuff. And it was like, this guy's a charlatan.
Oh yeah.
And it was like his
like
second...
Dr. Nick. He's like Dr. Nick incarnate.
Well, it's like, it's worse than Dr. Nick because like Dr. Nick is like an idiot. Like this is like full on snake oil salesman.
Yeah.
Like this is like 1800s. Like
what's the difference?
He doesn't have a wagon and we can't run him out of town on a rail.
So Dr. Nick's an idiot. And like, what are you protesting?
That like Dr. Nick doesn't know that he's incompetent, but Dr. Oz knows that he's incompetent and like doesn't care.
Sure?
Positive.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, that
really?
guy's full on charlatan.
Huh. I'm not sure he's that self-aware. Yeah. I've been like wrapped up in the health game for like quite a while.
Oh yeah, there's plenty
of fun. It's funny to see like all the like the latest things. Oh, this study comes out, and then all of a sudden, like, oh well, that's what causes everything.
Yeah,
and it's like, and then like, 10 years later, people still have all the same health problems, and we know all about that. And it turns out it wasn't that, but you were like running with it that's like going to fix everybody. Or like a couple like anecdotal people will be like, oh, well, I did that and all my problems went away. So then it's like, well, why isn't it working for me?
Right.
You know, it's like,
well, there's that too. But then there's also like the just full on snake oil where it's just like, well, that's not really
sometimes
a thing
placebo
at all.
Or a nocebo is better than something else.
True. But it's like,
you
know, you're better off going with science than like if the placebo stuff doesn't work or if it's like directly life threatening.
Science is the best current guess.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
But you know, that like when money gets involved from like big pharma and stuff, it is a conspiracy podcast now. Oh my God.
If you do need any life coaching or anything, though, shoot us an email.
Totally.
If you wish you turned off the podcast about
half an hour ago,
20 minutes ago, half an hour ago. We apologize. Actually, it'll probably be like 10 minutes ago because I'm sure I'm going to like get out the scalpel for the last half hour and
probably
like make it make sense. Please make it make sense.
And
so we've run out of red thread.
Yes. I have diet advice too, but most of it can be found on the Ron Swanson's Pyramid of Greatness. Skim milk. Yes. Avoid it.
Avoid skim milk, but also avoid Mennonite milk.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
That got me last time. Oh, man.
Yeah, the only milk you should be drinking is directly from the cow is Authumla's milk. When we were talking about synchronicity in the universe. And I was...
Oh, man. Okay.
My weirdo belief is that, oh, yeah, the world wasn't created in 7 days. Oh, it wasn't a Big Bang either. Oh, it was licked out of a glacier by a giant cow. What are you, dumb? You've seen glaciers. You've seen cows. I mean, come on.
They exist.
What's not to believe?
Those two together.
The facts are on my side. I've got evidence. Authumla.
Turtles versus cows.
Turtles all the way down.
Oh man.
That was another thing, Erica. Like you and Nena had the intertwining hands. Erica and I had it's turtles all the way down.
Yeah.
It was just like, what? Like whenever there was like a scratch of the surface and it's like, it's turtles all the way down.
Anyways. Oh man.
Good.
This is going to be a fun edit.
Good luck editing this.
Yeah. You want to wrap it up for us?
Get the garden shears out.
Oh man.
So yeah.
Edward Scissorhands.
Yep. Just don't try to do that with the Edward Scissorhands on. Okay. I'm gonna find my Zen.
Yeah, we missed the off ramp like
totally
20 miles ago.
Oh man.
20 miles back.
Yeah. It's like, when did the highway become gravel?
Oh man.
Is this the way to...
Wait, was that an owl? What's throwing sticks at our car?
Oh my God. I think it's that bear from earlier.
I think we have to get out of here.
All right. So if you've made it this far and you've listened to us talk about how awesome these compilations are, check them out. Like, I don't know if you'd be able to find them. I know at least one of the producers is like no longer in business. But yeah, look them up on YouTube or whatever streaming platform you use. Sucking the 70s and Sucking the 70s too. They are just chef kiss. They're so good.
Yeah, crank some Moss Generator. Like, don't listen to it politely. Like,
yeah, like do something epic. Like, even if it's just like cleaning the house, like turn the stereo up, like past where it's comfortable, where you're like, is this going to upset the neighbors? I don't care.
Yeah.
And
the
like,
neighbors think I'm having band practice right now.
Yeah. Clean the house or like crank it up in your car.
Yeah.
Go work out or something. Do something cool. Get off your butt.
Yeah.
Don't be stressed out. Listen to Sasquatch.
If you meet Sasquatch and he speaks to you, you better listen.
Better listen. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Checking out music with my bro. Will it dig it? Yes or no? Here we go.